Now, I'm not trying to be unkind, but there is no possible way, with as many people as we have, and as many women that's in this church, of all ages, to keep the temperature correct. Everybody understand? It's going to be cold this side, and it's going to be hot the other. And I know you want to be comfortable. I know that. Some of you men, y'all are, I don't know whether it's cold-blooded or hot-blooded, but some of you freeze to death because you ain't got no meat on your bones, maybe, I don't know. But some of you burn up, and I'm sorry. We're trying to make you comfortable. We really are. You know, we've ordered brand new pews, when we built the church, so you can be comfortable. We got the extra padding in the bottom, so you could sit back. That's top of the line bench you're sitting on. I want you to know that. Is that all right? We thought of you when we ordered it. We made sure they had the lumbar curvature in the back. That's how they was ordered. So it could help you to be comfortable. You drove to church this morning in your vehicle, and some may have rode the bus, and we done the best we could with the bus. It's comfortable we can make it. You can't do much with a school bus. I mean, that's the best we can do. But if you rode your car, you got lumbar seats, air ride. Then some of you rode a Ford, and I'm sorry. But, like riding a wheelbarrow, but that's all right. But nevertheless, you're as comfortable as you can be. We eat in a recliner majority of the time. It's rare you see families sitting at the table. They want to sit so they can eat comfortably. So they don't have to get up to go to sleep. They can eat and sleep together. So they can be comfortable. With the air and the heat and the seats and our cars, and then at home we have all the luxury. On the workplace, they want to make sure if you got to stand on concrete, you have to have one of them pads to stand on. If not, they won't work, because it hurts their back. You know that? If you got to stand in one place very long, you have to have a rail to put your foot on, because if you can just move every now and then, you won't work. The reason is you've got to be comfortable. You've got to be comfortable. They claim that you're supposed to be given a 15-minute break of a morning, 30-minute lunch, 15-minute break afternoon, so you can be comfortable. So you can be comfortable. That's what they do in the plant where I was working. They have a starting time, but if you want to be late, go ahead. As long as you're comfortable. If you want to take a longer lunch than what you're getting paid for, then that's okay, as long as you're comfortable. If you want to leave early, go ahead, because your life is more important than your employer. Go ahead, because we want you comfortable. We want you comfortable. We teach our children to lean on anything they can lean on, instead of standing up straight, because we want them comfortable. We let them sleep way up in the day on their days off. I missed the memo on that growing up about a day off. I don't know where y'all did it, but I missed that. Maybe I had amnesia or something. I missed that growing up, a day off. I missed it, out sleeping. There's people I've heard slept till 8 o'clock. I've heard tell of that. I've never seen it, but I've heard tell of it. So we can be comfortable. Our life today is all that we might be comfortable. Comfortable. We want to come to church and hear a comfortable message. If a message is very hard, then there's always a lot of comments on a hard message. There's not very many really on these. Of course, you may say, if I heard one, I'll be good back about it. If I had to tell you something about it. But I preach some very easy ones. And I'll let you think of what the names of them was. I do know. But we want to be comfortable. You go knock on someone's door and ask them to come to church, and they don't want to be bothered. It's sad, but we got somebody opted out on the call system. And I looked at the reason why. I gave a reason why. So they still want to be affiliated with this organization, but they didn't want to be bothered. That's what it said on the computer. I read it. They don't want to be bothered. You know, people don't like to be bothered. Right. They don't like to be bothered. Don't bother me. Any of you dads ever tell your children, don't bother me? After they leave home, they're grown, you're sitting there alone, you'll wish they'd come by and bother you. But we don't like to be bothered. We don't like to be bothered. Cartoons is even like that. One of my favorite cartoons is Bugs Bunny, the Roadrunner, the old Bugs Bunny. Yeah. But I like always the cartoon of Foghorn Leghorn, the big rooster. Don't bother me, son. Don't bother me, son. Remember how I always said that? Listen to me when I'm talking to you. Listen to me when I'm talking to you. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. That little rooster coming out. Don't bother me, son. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. We have that mentality. Yeah. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. I'm busy. They interviewed Jay Leno here a while back. They interviewed a 102-year-old woman. Asked her what she contributed to her long life. She said, well, I get up and do 150 exercises and all these arm pulls. 102 years old. I mean, she looked like she's 65, maybe 60. I mean, she was something. He said, well, what's one of your worries? He said, all these kids, he said, before long are all going to be deformed. And Jay Leno said, what do you mean? He said, they're all going to be born with just thumbs. All they do is this. Nobody ever answers you immediately anymore. If you're talking to them, what? What'd you say? You talking to me? I'm sorry. I was texting. The next time I see any of y'all doing that on your phone, in here, I'm going to take it from you. Some of you other people are doing it. Some of you see me. So I'm going to call you out next time, and then I'm going to take it from you next time you get your prayer. Amen. I'm bullshit. That's not I mentioned it. Don't want to bother you, though. Don't want to bother you. Sure don't want to make you uncomfortable. I want you to be okay. Is that all right? Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me with souls to save. I have my own agenda. There is no school. There is school to do, sports to play. Important stuff to attend to. Don't bother me with my friend at work. He has his own religion. I don't have time to change his mind. He can make his own decision. Don't bother me with that little girl playing in the street. She's much too young to understand that the Savior she can meet. Don't bother me with the sounds I hear of the sounds of people shrieking. Although I wonder who they are. Who are these victims screaming? Don't bother me with who they are. I really don't want the blame. Because it is that friend at work and that little girl who from hell scream out my name. But don't bother me. Don't bother me. We don't want to be bothered with the things that really matter. We don't want to be bothered with the things at church. We don't want to be bothered with the needs of others. We don't want to be bothered with the people that's lost. We don't want to be bothered with the things that really matter. Don't bother me. Don't bother me because I'm comfortable. Don't bother me because I'm relaxed. Don't bother me because I deserve my time. Don't bother me because I've earned my time. Don't bother me because I've earned the right to do what? It's what have you earned the right to do? It's what have you earned the time to do? It's what have you give that you can do anything? Don't bother me. Don't bother me with the needs of others. Don't bother me with the kids that go without. Don't bother me with the old ones that are lonely. Don't bother me with the ministries that can be taken part of in the church. Don't bother me with the tithe. Don't bother me with the needs of the church house. Don't bother me because I'm comfortable. Don't bother me. Don't bother me this morning. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Let me love. Let me do what I want to do. Let me do how I want to do it. Let me just float on through. And I might be comfortable. Don't bother me. Don't bother me, son. Don't bother me, son. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. That's the mentality of today. Don't bother me. I will do what I want to do. When I want to do it, I'll put forth as much effort as I want to put forth. My responsibility to others is not important. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. My employer needs me. Don't bother me, boss. About what you want from me. I work the way I want to. Don't bother me. If I think I'm working too hard, I'll just park my rock truck, or I'll park this, or I'll slow down there. Don't bother me. Well, we laugh. Sometimes when we get ready to work around the house, there's always time then to go to the bathroom. It was amazing. You go for hours, never go till you got ready to work. Then your help pal went to the restroom. It's true. I know it's true, because y'all laughed. Y'all knew what I was talking about. Don't bother me. Wait a minute. I'll be right back. Know what they tell you? If you ain't holding nothing real heavy, it's going to cut your head off or something. Be right back. I don't want to stand there uncomfortable. Don't bother me. Well, the title this morning is what it is. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me and get me out of my routine. Don't bother me. I have my own agenda. Don't bother me. I've got all my plans. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Listen, I'm here, preacher. Is that not enough? I come to church. What more do you want? All you got. Well, all you got. I want everything you got in your pocket. Everything you got in the bank. I want every ounce of your strength. I want every tidbit of your wisdom. I want every tear that your body can muster. I want you to go days without sleep. I want you to go days without food. I want you to be here to make sure that the snow's shoveled and the lights are on. I want you to be here to make sure it's your responsibility that they're fueling the buses and the kids have been visited and the homes are taken care of. I want everything you can give. That's just because I'm an old hard preacher. I've not done nothing for you. I've never done nothing for you. That's what I want. But don't let me bother you. Don't let me bother you. Preacher, I'll do whatever you need. Hey, I'm busy. Don't bother. Don't bother. That's what we say. God, don't bother me. You give it all, but I've got things to do. Don't bother me, God, just because you died for me. Don't bother me, God. I don't care. I don't care. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me because of what's going on in the land today. Don't bother me that you'll soon be here. Can I give you just a few thoughts this morning? Huh? I don't want to bother you. Can I give you a few thoughts this morning? You say, that's really sarcastic. No, that's just the way we are. Not being sarcastic. I'm just being honest this morning. Don't bother me. Don't bother me with your complaints. Don't bother me with your cares. Don't bother me with your burdens. How many of you ever said, preacher, I know you've been sick. I didn't want to bother you. Did I tell you not to bother? Don't tell me what I need. But we're always worried about bothering. Does everybody got the point so far? Amen. Don't bother me. I'm going to do my best to bother you this morning. I just want to give you some truth this morning. Give you some truth about what the Bible says. We'll read a text here in just a moment. What you think about not bothering? There's people, I believe, that would wish they was bothered. I thought of the people that's in the hospital, the people that's sick and can't come to church. You know, there's people sitting at home this morning that would love to come to church to be able to pray for you.
Yep, you're right.
But they can't. I don't want to bother you with that. There's people this morning that would love to be able to cook a meal. You know, I find out I'm so wicked when I go to thinking just how wicked I am. My mommy is sickly, frail, and sickly. But I look back at the times when she wasn't as frail as she is, and I would go over to the house and she said, "You hungry? Want me to fix you something to eat?" I said, "Well, no." Do you know what I should have done? It wasn't a bother to her. I should have said, "I sure would like to have some fried potato." See, they can't be bothered now, because they're not able to do what they used to do. And I don't want to bother you with that. I don't want to bother you with those that are lonely, that need a visit. I don't want to bother you with those who are discouraged, that need a pat on the back. I don't want to bother you this morning. The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 9 says, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations." You know what bothers people? It bothers people that there's a hell. It bothers people this morning that there's a hell. I'm here to tell you this morning, I wish it would bother us that there was a hell. I've just been looking, doing a lot of reading in the last several days, and just how we have maintained our attitude and what we've done in our thoughts about eternity and those that are without God. And I found out that we don't want to be bothered, that we try to make everything comfortable. We make heaven as comfortable as we can. Make everybody want to go to heaven as easy as they can. And now we've got to the place we make hell comfortable. I was looking, and I don't know who these people are. I don't listen to them, but there's a group named Slipknot. Anybody here ever heard of the group named Slipknot? Hold your hand up if you have. All right, 3, 4, 5 hands. Evilest people in the world that I've seen so far. They dress like devils. That's what they portray as the devil. One of their latest CDs, or one of their CDs anyway, was Antennas to Hell. Huh? I just do a little research. You know, how many watch Walking Dead? Anybody here ever watch The Walking Dead? Hold your hand up. You watch it, they can be ashamed of. Well, all right. How many here has ever heard of the movie or the show on TV Walking Dead? Now, you know what that is? It's dead people that ain't in heaven or hell neither. They just come out of the grave to torment people. That's all right, they got guns for them. That's in zombie guns. In black and green guns, they sell Cabela's and they got the balls and good members. Seriously, they got them all. And that's for them Walking Dead people. You have comments there. They go there to try to desensitize you that when you leave this world, that there's nowhere else to go. You can walk around dead. I've been preaching to dead people for almost 30 years. Anybody ever watch Nightmare on Elm Street? Anybody ever watch it? I've never watched it. Anybody know who Freddy Krueger is? Anybody know what's that other fellow's name? It's a chainsaw. Anybody know? Not Jason up there. Anybody know who Jason is? Yeah, there were people that you can't kill. There were people that we made millionaires to show forth people that you can't even kill them. We can kill you. Scary. Getting all dark and dreary. Right on the edge. So you're right on the edge of your seat. I do that and I don't even watch that stuff. You keep watching it, you're going to be as jumpy as I am. The reason I jump like this is because of church people. It's the truth. When I'm by myself, I don't jump like this. Not very often. I've had a few squirrels, a few birds, a deer or two that's done me like that. Normally, I've not done myself like that. What we need to understand today is they desensitize people so they're not bothered. So nothing bothers us. We go to the funeral home and they paint us up pretty. Put all the makeup on, and if you'll notice, they never put you under a clear light. It's always a red and a blue light. Yeah. You know why? So it won't show how bad you look dead. You know that? That's why they do that. One of the greatest organizations is hospice. I recommend it to any family that's having sick. Hospice is one of the few Christian organizations, I believe, that really care about people. But even hospice, our ICU wards, our nursing homes, medicine, the medical field in itself, listen carefully what I'm going to tell you, have gotten to the point that even when you die, you don't die normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You die covered. Don't bother. Don't bother. No longer do you have the call out to God when they're dying.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
Because they're covered. No longer do you have people trying to run from Satan, run from the devil, saying, don't let him get me. Oh, it's hot around my feet. Because we've made everything
You're right.
covered.
Tell the truth.
So it don't bother us. So it won't bother us. Do you realize that this morning will be the only message in 2013 that I preach on hell? Did anybody notice that? I mention it every Sunday. I've never really preached on it until I will here shortly. Don't bother me. Don't bother me about my buddy I work for, work with. Don't bother me about the little girl down the street. Don't bother me. Don't bother me about my children. Don't bother me about my grandchildren. Don't bother me about my neighbor. Don't bother me about my parents. Don't bother me. I don't got time. I don't have time. Listen real quick. The message is about over. Deuteronomy 32:22 says, hell is where the anger of God is kindled. Proverbs 15:24 says, hell is beneath us. Proverbs 7:27 says, hell is the chamber of death. Matthew 23:33 says, hell is a place of punishment. Job 11, verse 8 says, hell is deep. Job 26, verse 6 says, hell is a place of destruction. Psalm 55, verse 15 says, hell is down. Isaiah 5, verse 14 says, hell hath enlarged itself. Matthew 25, verse 46 says, hell is eternal. Matthew 5, verse 22 says, hell is a place of fire. Proverbs 27, verse 20 says, hell is never full. Matthew 16:18 says, hell is guarded by a gate. Ezekiel 31:17 says, hell is where the heathen go. Psalms 86:13 says, hell is the lowest place. Matthew 7:13 says, hell is where there will be multitudes. Luke 16:24 says, hell has no water. Psalms 116, verse 3 says, hell has pain. Isaiah 14, verse 15 says, hell is a pit. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 9 says, hell is a prepared place for the devil. Matthew 25, verse 46 says, hell is a place of punishment. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1, verse 9 says, hell is separated from God. 2 Samuel chapter 22, verse 6 says, hell is a place of sorrows. Luke 16:23 says, hell is a place of torments. Mark chapter 9, verse 43 says, hell is where the worm dieth not. Mark 9:44 says, where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched. Mark 9:45 says, where the fire is not quenched. Mark 9:46, where the worm dieth not, and the fire is not quenched. Mark 9:47, it says, it's better to be cast into hell fire. It is better to lose your eye, to lose your feet, to lose your arms, than to be cast into hell fire, is what it says. Psalm 9:17 says, hell is a home to the wicked. Psalm 9:17 will tell you that hell is for those who forget God. Huh? Just thought I'd give you just a few verses on hell. Just a few. But I don't want to bother you about it. I don't want to bother you about hell. I don't want you to know that there's a hell. Listen to me. You better know that there's a hell today. You better know that it's time you get bothered. It's time this morning that every Christian gets bothered. That every preacher gets bothered. Don't tell me you're a preacher if you're not preaching. Don't tell me that you're concerned about souls if you're not trying to win them. Don't tell me that you're concerned about souls if you don't pray. I don't want to bother you this morning. Don't want to bother you this morning. Hell is real. Don't want to bother you this morning. There's a place where the unsaved go. I don't want to bother you with that this morning. Yes, I want to bother you. I want you to be uncomfortable. I want you to sit there and squirm. I want you to hang your head in shame because there's a hell this morning. I want you to. I want you to. I want you to. We say, don't bother me with that. Don't bother me with that. Don't bother me, the message this morning. Don't bother me. Don't bother me about the Christ. That's for saved and lost folks. They don't want to hear about Christ. Oh, tell me about God. Tell me how much God loved me. But don't tell me about Christ who died for me. Don't tell me about Christ who expects something of me. Don't tell me about Christ who said, you can't be my disciple unless you lay everything else aside and follow me. Don't tell me about that Christ. Tell me about God. Don't bother me about the Christ. Don't bother me about the Christ. He's God in the flesh. Don't bother me that He's pure. He's in your heart and you do impure things. Then you're dragging a pure Christ through the impure things. Don't bother me that Christ is holy. It's the Holy One that's inside you. And when you do impure things and unholy things, you're dragging a holy Savior through them things. And you say, well, I don't do them. If you think them, you might as well have done them this morning. But don't bother me with the Christ. Don't bother me with the Christ. Don't bother me with the cross. Don't bother me with the cross. Don't bother me that Christ died for my sins Don't bother me that he hung and bled and died in my place. Don't bother me with that. It makes me uncomfortable. Don't bother me with that. It makes me ashamed. Don't bother me with that. It convicts me of my sin. Yeah, it should this morning.
Right.
We live like it's, don't bother me. Don't bother me. Oh, we ought to crawl on our hands and knees all over the church house, all around this altar weeping, thanking God that he loved us enough to give us the Christ. Then we ought to be on our face before God every morning, and every day, and every night, and thanking Christ that he loved us enough to die in our place this morning. But we don't want to be bothered. We got an agenda. We got our own things to do. We got our hell to raise. We got our people to sleep with. We got our beer to drink. We got our dope to do. We got our lies to tell. We got to make sure we're comfortable. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me about the Christ. Don't bother me about the cross. Don't bother me about being a Christian. Don't tell me that I'm supposed to live a certain way. Don't tell me that I'm a representative of Jesus. Don't tell me that when people see me, they see Jesus, because everybody knows I'm human and everybody knows everybody sins.
Yeah.
Don't bother me. Don't bother me. Don't bother me with all that. The only reason I want to be a Christian is that I can miss hell. I don't care how many I take to hell on my way to heaven, but don't bother me with that. Don't bother me with that. I got it. Don't bother me. Don't bother me with the Christ. Don't bother me with the cross. Don't bother me with being a Christian. Saved is enough. I go to church. So what I cuss them? So what? Everybody does. Everybody sleeps in that. So what? I drink a little bit. Everybody drinks a little bit. I've never drank. I'm not past 50 years old. I've never drank a drop. I've never tasted it. Don't tell me that you have to. Don't hear that junk. You're weak. You want it. Well, because you're drunk. Chances are you're not saved. Just saying. Don't bother me about being a Christian. So what? I cuss somebody out. I lost my temper. Yeah. Yeah, don't bother me. I wouldn't think anything about it. Just forget it. I just forget it. I wouldn't even worry about it. I wouldn't forget that you act like a heathen. Just forget it. Just go ahead and let it in your mind. All right? That you gossip. Don't let it in your mind that you're a gossip. You know how you know if you're gossip? If you go, somebody say, yeah, I got something I got to tell you. And it's about money. That's how you know you're a gossip. If you go to somebody, hey, I need to tell you about something. You're a gossip. I'm not one to bother you all. It's all this. Don't bother me about the lies. Go ahead and lie. Go ahead and lie. Go ahead. Ain't hurt nobody. I'm saved, preacher. Don't hurt nobody. They don't have to believe if they don't want to. Huh? Huh? Don't bother me to tell me that there's a certain way a Christian's supposed to live. Don't tell me that there's a certain way a Christian's supposed to talk, or a certain way a Christian's supposed to act. Don't bother me with all that. Just give me my get out of hell free card when I come down there to the altar. That's all I care about. But I don't care if I'm going to lead my family to hell. I don't care if I'm going to lead my neighbors to hell. I don't care if I'm going to let my community go to hell. I don't care if I'm going to come and sit on a church pew and do absolutely nothing, long as I get my get out of hell free card.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't bother me with all that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Preacher Barkley. I ain't got time for that. Okay? Hey, I'm Preacher Barkley. Yeah, some of your outfits been up here to see me before. You know, I used to work with that so-and-so, and my wife worked with so-and-so, and if that's the kind of people you got going down there to the church, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Right.
Don't bother me with that stuff. Don't bother me. Don't bother me with Christ. Don't bother me about the cross. Don't bother me about being a Christian. Don't bother me about the cost.
Yeah.
Don't bother me that this morning, that every 1.7 seconds, someone goes out in 2 times. Every 1.7 seconds. When's it your turn? When's it your turn? The cost. The cost. Don't bother me about the cost for the Christian, for the church. We're still trying to maintain the oil in the factory. Most churches are. I do not believe that everybody goes to church here is glad we grow. I don't believe they did. Some wished we was back in the old sanctuary. Don't bother me, all this other. All this growth makes me uncomfortable. Don't bother me with the cost. Don't bother me that hell. You know why there's volcanoes? You may ever know why there's volcanoes. Do you know why there's volcanoes?
Yeah.
Seriously. Because of the pressure in the center of the earth. Is that all right?
Right.
And it's got to have an outlet. Is that all right?
Right.
Well, there's Bible for that in our thing.
That's right. Amen.
For hell hath enlarged itself.
That's right.
Hell is moved for thee at thy coming. Well, if it's going to make rain down there, it's got to spurt out something up there. That's why the volcanoes. Old Faithful is not just a natural phenomenon of steam. Old Faithful is all the signs out of hell.
Yeah.
Weeping, screaming. But our little life is don't bother me. Don't bother me about the Christ. Don't bother me about the cross. Don't bother me about the Christian. Don't bother me about the cost. Cost you something to be a Christian. It won't cost you comfort. We're not persecuted no more.
Right.
We've got more persecution this year than we've ever gotten, and it was hardly nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who persecuted us? The brethren.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You know why the brethren persecutes people? Because, well, they're stupid, is one reason. But the reason the brethren persecute you because that they're not doing what they used to do
Yeah.
or what they can do.
Yeah. Right. That's right.
We're not persecuted. You know why? We ain't Christians. where I read, they always persecuted Christians.
That's right.
How come they're killing them in Sudan? Oh, we're saved. Yeah. Everybody get persecuted. From the beginning of time, they persecuted Christians. Don't be bothered that everyone speaks well of you. Although the Bible says, beware of a man speaks well of you. Don't let that bother you. We've just reached to the point that the beer joints like us.
Right.
You know, that's a mixed blessing. That's a bittersweet kind. You know that? It is bitter. It's good that they want to help, but it's bad that they're not bothered.
Yeah. Right.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I really studied about it. And I think that's one of the inroads that got our foot in the door. So if we get lined up this year and go down to the bar and preach, maybe we'll be able to get it. I'm going. I'm going with it. I'm going. I'm going to the tractor bar this year. I am. I'll see some of you there. When I walk in, say, there's my preacher. When I walk in, that's what I'm going to do. Who's going to? You think I'm kidding? Tell you right now. We'll go where the sinner from. There ain't nothing right here. I'm going to go to the sheriff. I'm going to go to the mayor's place. Watch and see if I know. I'm telling you. I'm going to go see the Pope down here in town. Gonna talk with him time or two. I don't want to bother y'all about the call. I don't want to bother y'all about being a Christian. I don't want to bother y'all about the cross. I don't want to bother y'all about Christ. I wonder today, are you saved today? Are you bothered about the thoughts of hell? Are you bothered about the thoughts of others going to hell? Are you bothered about that? Are you bothered about the reality of hell? Are you bothered about the reality of the cross? Huh? Are you bothered about that? There was two boys, Zach and Josh, who grew up together, did everything together, school, sports. And one night they were in a wreck. Josh was killed. There's a letter on the table for Zach when he got home from the emergency room. No stamp or postmark, but a handwriting he well knew. The letter from Josh. This is how it read. Hey, Zach, I died tonight. It was different than I thought it would be. I always figured it would be foggy or hazy or just dreamy, but it's crystal clear. It's even more real than life was, man. I could talk, I could hear, I could feel. Right after the wreck, I could feel my spirit leave my body. I thought I even heard you screaming my name, but I guess I was hearing things. First, it was like I was in a big line of people rescuing, I guess. Then I stood before a throne. These big angels, I suppose, stood next to me. They looked at the big book and said, my name was not found. They started dragging me away, and all I could hear was screaming and moaning. Man, this is scary. They told me I was condemned to the lake of fire forever. There were so many. It was like I had to wait. There were so many. As I was waiting, I got to thinking. What I was thinking about you, Zach. I was thinking about, you said you was a Christian. I was thinking, Zach, why didn't you tell me about all this? Especially about Jesus. Hey, man, it came up 3 different times today. Kelly said something and you just laughed it off. Coach Adams brought it up and you changed the subject. Then right before the wreck, it came up again. I thought you were my friend, Zach. Why didn't you ever tell me how to become a Christian? Oh, no, here they are. That's my turn now. They're dragging me away. I'm so scared. I smell the smoke. I feel the heat. There's no hope for me now, Zach. Goodbye forever. I wish you would have told me. Your friend, Josh. P.S. Wish you were here. What if? What if? What if? As hell hath enlarged itself, but we live a life of don't bother me. Oh, I wouldn't to God that we would be bothered again. I wouldn't to God our hearts would break again. I wouldn't to God you that's not saved would understand that hell is one breath away from you today. And that you need the Jesus they sung about a while ago. That you need the cross. And you need the Christ that I preached about. But don't let the Christian stop you from being saved. Think about the cost. The cost is of you hearing the gospel today. That you're hearing the gospel today. That Jesus died for you. That he was buried and then he rose again for you. And it'll gladly save you this morning. Oh, how you need saved. You need saved today. You need saved today. We live like don't bother me. I've got my own agenda. Don't bother me. I've got my own things to attend to. Don't bother me about the fella I work with. He'll make his own decision. He's got his own religion. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. I don't know how many verses I read you that there was a hell. I could read you more. I didn't read all of them to you. There's a hell today. There is a hell. We live like it don't bother me. Let's go home and watch Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's go home and watch The Living Dead. Let's go buy our zombie guns and our zombie bullets and laugh and cut up and say, oh, well, that's fun. It's fun. Let's watch Patrick Swayze and Ghost, him and Demi Moore. And let's watch them as they come out of the ground as a dark spirit and take the man to hell. And then Patrick Swayze, because he's a good fella, goes up to heaven. And let's do it like that. Let's not be bothered. Let's not be bothered about the Westerns I love. About the one that's called, by all things, purgatory. Where Wild Bill Hickok, Jesse James, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid, they're all the good guys. And they're there making sure they do their penance. They're not allowed to shoot nobody or smack nobody. Doc can still drink his liquor, but they can't shoot nobody. Never understood that. Then the stagecoach comes through and says, the Creator, sing your good deeds today. So, boys, get on. They load them up and take them to heaven in a stagecoach. Good Western. Oh, it's good. They finally have a big shootout. Boy, it's good. So to be desensitized, people like me, you don't want to bother them. I'll ask you this morning, if you bow your head for a minute, listen to me carefully. I'm going to ask you, Christian neighbor, saved friend, does it bother you? Does it bother you that your family's still lost? Does it bother you that your neighbors are lost? Does it bother you? I don't want to trouble you too much. Does it bother you that moms and dads, sisters and brothers, going to hell? Does it bother you? Does it bother you? Does it bother you that you're supposed to be a Christian? You don't live like a Christian? Does it bother you that you claim to know Christ, but you don't act like you know Christ. Doesn't bother you that you take Christ everywhere with you, yet it seems not to affect your actions. Does it bother you this morning? Does it bother you? Don't bother me, preacher, with the Christ. Don't bother me, preacher, about the cross. Don't bother me, preacher, about the Christian. Don't bother me, preacher, about the cost. Oh, would to God we'd all be bothered. How about you, unsaved friend? Does it bother you that you're lost? Does it bother you that you need Jesus? That you're not saved yet? Has it been on your mind this week? Have you been thinking about the need in your heart? I wonder, would this be a good day for you to come? Would this be a good day for you to come, my lost friend, and receive Jesus as your Savior? Would it be a good time that you could come and miss out on hell? Would it be a good time? Maybe. Would it be a good time? Would it be a good time? Huh? Oh, don't bother me, preacher. Don't bother me, preacher. It's bothering you this morning. Oh, I want you to come today. Come to Jesus today. Come to Christ today. It's so serious. It's so important. So important. Oh, how you need Him today. You raised your hand Sunday night. Would you come this morning? He's speaking to you right now. Come on, right now. Come on. Come on. There you go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Linda, come here. Get her. Help her. Becky, you take it right here. Becky's right here. Becky, got it. Come on. Come on. You come this morning. Does it bother you this morning? Does it bother you? Does it bother you this morning? Huh? Huh? Oh, I want you to understand this thing real. Well, this thing been wearing me out. Sunday wore me plumb out. Sunday beat me to death, but I watched him being drug over and pitched in the hand. Sunday has worried me about people. My man's been hard. My pill has been hard. And oh, God, don't let it change. Don't let me be comfortable, God. Oh, that we stay bothered. Oh, we stay messed up. Oh, we stay so what people call fanatic. Oh, that we reach them all this morning. We reach them all. You come this morning. It's time to get right. Time to get right. You're wasting. You're wasting. It's time to get right this morning. There was a time you was. Today's the time. You understand? Today's the time. Now. Now. Don't bother me, preacher. That's what we say. Father, speak. Even more, I pray. In Jesus' name. And let's stand right now.